Yo, what is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of Boss Battle. This is the 47th episode of this show. We are almost at the 50th episode. I'm your host, Crypto Hado, alongside Ramen Cash. Ramen, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing amazing. Ready to get into this. So many boss battles in. Ready to dive into Avalon, see what's going down today.
Hell yeah, dude. Sounds good. Sounds good. By the way, I am holding my mic because I'm in the process of moving. So the boom arm is somewhere in between two houses. I don't know where it is. So I'm just going to be holding it for today. But we are joined by our co-panelist, Clouds.
Yo, what is up, man? Recuperating from recuperating. I don't even know what I said there. I'm just trying to feel better from coming back from Art Basel, man. I think I got a little sick down there along with Sersky, so I'm trying to do my best not to let it get to me. But I'm excited to have Sean and Avalon here, man. A lot of buzz going on around Avalon, so I'm super excited to get to talk to them and learn a little bit more about what they got going on.
Absolutely. It was a great time in Art Basel. It was a great weekend. Had a great time with that. Mizzy, how you doing, bro?
Chilling, man. I luckily don't feel sick. I'm pretty lit,
lucky
bro.
bastard.
We had a
because
great
It's because you're an anime character, bro. That's
Yeah.
we had a great time, and I'm excited to have Avalon on the show, man. This is a game that I've been quietly like taking peeks at and like bugging Sean every 6 months or so to know more about. And I think it's kind of one of those sleeper things that is going to be really, really cool for the space. So I'm excited. Shout out me Prox in the chat. Shout out Jackie. Shout out JK. And kicking it back to Hado.
That intro was so long that Clouds decided to leave the lobby. No, I'm kidding. I think something's going on with his camera. But last but not least, Sean from Avalon. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. So before I intro myself, so Boss Battle, I love the name. My first time tuning in, and watching that video in the beginning, I can see whoever, I don't know, one of you guys or someone on your team obviously made a lot of that content. And I noticed, and I think some of the people with a discerning eye probably noticed, a lot of that was made with AI, which is really cool because that stuff was not possible like 6 months ago, right? And we use this kind of tech all the time internally in our studio. And we're going to be talking about a lot of this today. But a big part of our vision for Avalon is making it super easy to create game content in the same way you guys just created all that video content, right? Like imagine creating your own dungeons and your own bosses and your own experiences together, with text prompts, right? And we're really not as far away from that as you might think. So, but anyway, I'm Sean. I'm the CEO here at Avalon, and happy to chat with you guys some more about what it is we're up to.
Hell yeah, love that intro. It was made with AI. You got me. It was a great. I think AI gives you like a little creative experience that you couldn't do before. So I do agree with you there. By the way, guys, how this show works, we have 3 rounds of questions or 3 different bosses that our guest has to defeat. The guest does have to get 85 or above across all the bosses. So the audience will be voting at the end of each round to see how you do against these bosses. So your performance does matter on this show. So you ready to play some boss battle?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Production, take us away. Whoever's production. Greg.
Greg.
All right, question number 1, and it says, can you tell us more about the storyline of this game?
Yeah, so the idea behind Avalon is that it's actually the Matrix. We're droning into an entirely new simulation, and inside of that simulation we have game masters or AI agents that are piercing into the fourth wall, that are familiar with reality outside of Avalon, and are sort of inviting people into this new experience. And so you're developing relationships with characters and characters that live inside of this world that are themselves AI and fully conversational, just like you, have memory just like you do, but then are sort of breaking the fourth wall in that to them this is their real reality, and to where you exist, that's not real reality. And so we have this sort of mind-bending, trippy experience of where you're going into a simulation and then you're playing through various worlds. There's a lot of sort of like Sword Art Online inspiration, if you're familiar with Sword Art Online, or like Isekai inspired inspiration, or Ready Player One inspiration, where you're joining in to this alternate reality that in time we hope to push to feel as close to our reality as we can.
That is interesting. I've always thought, like, if there was a singularity world, right, where all the AIs talk to each other, they're gonna like have a moment in time where like this is reality, the people that are living in reality are the ones that are virtual. It's a very interesting like perspective that you just brought into my brain.
Yeah, and what's fun about it too is like the way that we present the story, and I'm kind of spoiling by saying all this right now, is you're really just a hero summoned into another world, and you're trying to save that other world from their plight, right? Initially you're in a high fantasy world. The game's multi-genre. You'll go to like a cyberpunk and a post-apocalyptic world, but initially you're in a high fantasy world, and these dragons are coming and they're destroying the world every 49 days, and you have to save this world from destruction. But then you come to learn that, hey, this is a simulation. There's all these other things going on, and like, are you time traveling? And that's where things get really kind of interesting.
Love that. Love that. Let's move on to the next question here. In the first boss, this is the follow-up question to the last one. If this is to be a community-created game, how will this product maintain a cohesive storyline?
Excellent question. So, the simulation part of it is huge, right? Because we're saying like, hey, you can create other worlds and other experiences, and it all makes sense because it's part of this cohesive universe. But we're creating our own main content, like our own main stories and our own main quests, and that'll be the primary story when we think about the story of Avalon. But then we're also working with partners and like top UGC creators. Let's say someone creates like a really sick dungeon or a really sick battle royale or something. Like we'll work with that team or that community to maybe create one of the core experiences that we have coming down the pipeline. So both like us and our community are actually creating the story together.
Okay. Interesting. Another question here says, what can we expect when it comes to the movement in this game?
So when we talk about movement, I'm assuming like locomotion and character movement.
Right.
So we're really inspired, like, a lot of MMOs, like World of Warcraft, old school MMOs like EverQuest have like tab targeting, sort of traditional, old school like lock-on mechanics, and we don't like that. We like the more modern approach. Think God of War, think Elden Ring, like very free form locomotion, vaulting over small objects, dodge rolling with iframes, and that's how we've designed our game to be implemented. You can see some of that in our latest combat footage reveal. It's extremely complex to solve in an MMO scenario, but we're pretty close to getting that where it needs to be. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw the footage for that combat reveal that you guys did, and it looks super cool, man. I mean, if that's what it looks like now, I can I can wait to see it when you guys continue to update it, and improve on it, because it looked really crispy, and like you said, it did give that feeling of like God of War movement type of mechanics.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it because we haven't really shown too much yet, so there's a lot more.
Yeah, yeah, it was really short, but it was really cool.
Awesome.
Let's move on to the next question here. What kind of character classes will there be in the first iteration of this game?
So when we think about classes in Avalon, we don't think about them like you do in a traditional MMO. Like I'm playing as a knight, or I'm playing as a wizard, or I'm whatever. Instead, we have like an open skill tree with disciplines, and those disciplines are more abstract concepts like martial arts or magicka. And then as you move down various parts in the skill tree, you sort of become a class by unlocking all of those skill nodes. Notably, like where our game's different than something like Path of Exile, where we do have a skill tree sort of like Path of Exile, is there's an unlimited number of nodes that you can unlock. So if you've watched Hunter x Hunter, this is a very specific example, but they have this concept of like the enhancer and the transmuter, and there's like some other fields in there. But what's really interesting Hunter x Hunter did is, like, while you're specializing in a specific like archetype, you're not as effective at other archetypes. So you could, for example, max out all your martial capacity, and then actually still learn some like summoner magic. They won't be nearly as effective, but you'll still be able to use all those things. So there's huge advantages to like trying all the different parts of the skill tree and the skill nebula.
So there's going to be like a bit of trade-offs between like what you choose to like, go through the skill tree. You'll be better in some aspects and worse at others. So it's like kind of balancing in a way.
Yeah, it is tricky to balance in that regard, but I think it's a lot more fun because it allows people to kind of freely do what they want to do. Like one of the gripes I have like with Path of Exile 1, I haven't gotten into Path of Exile 2 yet, is that it's sort of like the illusion of choice. The best metas are like 11 builds, right? And you play one of those 11 builds or you're probably not very good. And in Avalon, I want people to like literally just do whatever they want, and it can actually still be effective because you can ultimately do everything on the skill tree.
I think it's a good approach too, because we kind of have like this repeating process that you're talking about, where it's like you have this illusion of choice, but in reality, like there's only like a couple ways to play the game. This could like give more replay ability to Avalon because there's so many different ways you can like go about it.
Yeah, that's the way we're thinking about it. It's ambitious, but it's a lot of fun. The other cool thing that it's not going to be initially available, but we're pushing in that direction later into 2025, is the idea of an expanding skill tree, right? So like imagine there's a huge fog of war on your skill tree and it's community-wide fog of war. So like rather than there being like an end, like there's a discernible end on your skill tree, as the community progresses that character type, the skill tree actually expands. And that's kind of like how we're updating the game. So,
yo, Mizzy, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know you love the skill tree stuff and WoW and stuff.
I mean, I think it's something that the genre needs. You know, we've kind of like been through all the skill tree iterations. You know, as soon as he started mentioning how the skill tree was going to be structured, I instantly started thinking of Path of Exile. So it's funny that he like followed up with that, because I do think that Path of Exile has one of the more unique skill tree setups compared to like most of the other RPG style games. And we recently did have like the Raven Quest experience with their skill tree, where it's like there's so many class variations now compared to like traditional MMOs, because of the different combinations that you can do to create different classes within that game. So I feel like the space as a whole is ready for a more dynamic skill tree experience. Kind of feels like we've been slowly breaking into that meta already. And I mean, in an AI powered game, like why not? Like why limit yourself to something, you know, so archaic? Like we've been using the same skill tree since I was like 5. You know, like so I'm happy to hear that some like people are starting experimenting with it more. And yeah, Prof, Path of Exile's fucking skill tree is super confusing for sure. But you know, and it'll be interesting to see how Avalon like officially pulls it off, like once it's live, right? But I could even see that playing into the, like economy systems and stuff. Like not to go too far ahead, but like people being able to experiment with skill trees, being able to make certain unlocks, like
that's the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
We want the community like to discover stuff. So and this is a lot of this is going to come over time. Like we're going to release Avalon as an early access game with I would say a simpler version of our ultimate vision for the skill tree, and then like scale it up over time. But one of the things that we really liked about like I'm gonna go back to Sword Art Online was our main hero character. I think it was like Kiriko. He unlocks the dual blades ability, and he's the only person to do it because he was the first person to like use his weapons really quickly. And we like the idea of like players experimenting with things and then discovering things on the skill tree that are like behind Fog of War because players did a thing uniquely. And then like, oh crap, you know, meta changed. I just discovered dual blades. And like those are the kind of things we want to encourage. So.
Awesome. Love those answers. By the way, guys, the poll is live. Go to any of the chats that you're in. By the way, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Twitch, and we're live on X. Go vote right now. Actually, I need to do that too. Go vote right now and let us know how Sean is doing in the first boss here. I also do want to shout out some people in chat. What up, Jackie? It was awesome meeting everybody in Art Basel, by the way. I got to meet Jackie, really cool person. JK, good to see you as always. And yeah, Prof, good to see you as well. And I lost the comment here. Michael from Andromeda, it was great meeting you as well, my friend.
What up? What up?
And GM said, I mean, how do you say this? Geoist?
Oh, Geoist. Yeah. Hey, thank you for the follow, Geoist. By the way, Geoist is he's building an AI, I believe it's an AI tool too for like donations on Twitch, for crypto and all sorts of like tokens and stuff. So shout outs to him. It's something actually that we implemented on our Twitch channel over there too. So shout outs to him for giving us a follow.
Absolutely. One of the things you guys mentioned real quick, and I kind of want to ask, this is like a selfish question. It's not on the list here, Sean. Do you see that like AI is going to change the archetypes of like, not just skill trees, but like progression in games? Like, do you think that AI is going to customize that kind of progression with the skill trees? Because the way you guys are talking about the skill tree and stuff and like the expanding skill tree part, like how much could you cater to the user experience through that?
So I mean that's not how we're thinking about AI, you know, for Avalon. I think that there's something really interesting there though. You know, like you could cater an experience where like the skill tree is literally being generated by AI, like based on player preferences. Certainly that's something that's possible. For us, that's probably not the thing we're going to want to do, at least not initially. We want to have a more control over what the skill tree is doing along with our community, you know, community DAO, in terms of like the direction of the skill tree. really more what we're thinking about AI is two things. One, it's like characters in the game, characters in the universe, right? You imagine there's someone that's joining your party, they're a character that lives in the world, they have their own personality, they can talk with you, they have memory of you, they can play the game as well as you can. And then also like fighting a dragon that can, again, play the game nearly as well as you can, because it's been trained over and over again on how to fight as a dragon. So that's the lowest hanging fruit, and one of the things we're really interested in is like a living, breathing universe full of NPCs that are like people. And then the second thing is generative AI, and so generative AI is a little bit more nascent for game development. So there's not as much here yet, although we are generating characters with generative AI, which is really, really cool. We're gonna have probably the craziest character creator I've ever seen, knock on wood, in a video game, and a lot of that's because of a lot of AI tech coming out. But then in the future, I'd love to like this world behind me. I'd love to be like, hey, I want a high fantasy village with a lake in the background and a castle, and that with blue skies, and then like it generates that village, right? We're not there yet, but I think we're a year or two away from that. And once that's a thing, that'll be a huge part of Avalon, because we want our users to be able to create that kind of stuff.
Love that answer. Love it. Love it. All right, let's move on to the last question here in the first boss. Can you give us some detail on? Can you give us some detail of the game mechanics that would be involved? What kind of game loop would this game have?
So yeah, happy to do that. So there's a few different parts of our game mechanics. So obviously the game's like action oriented combat. Think Elden Ring has like similar combat, but the bosses in that game are freaking crazy, and we don't have the resources to make like the insane bosses they do. We get some pretty cool bosses, but not quite as crazy and cool as Elden Ring. So think combat systems, sort of like a God of War / Elden Ring, but with multiplayer. Then there's survival crafting mechanics, less so survival, more so crafting. And so think of games like Valheim or Enshrouded, where like you're building a village with your friends. And then we have more like RPG MMO mechanics. So you're progressing, you're leveling, you're defeating bosses. And then we have what's called the Spire in Avalon. And so as the community defeats the floor boss and defeats various objectives on the floor, you ascend the Spire into different genres of the game. And so initially it's like the survival crafting experience, and then you go to the next floor and maybe a survival crafting experience again, but maybe this time it's a new world. Maybe it's high fantasy, maybe it's cyberpunk, and then you grow again. And then maybe on the third floor, it's a battle royale, and then you have to do something there, and then ascend the Spire. So that's the game loop. Initially it's a survival crafting though. So
all those elements is just making me think like this is going to be a really, really fun game, but it's going to be very time consuming and time well spent, because that's going to make your experience even better.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully people can drop in and drop out and just play the kind of game experience they want. But yeah, there will be a deepness to the game that allows people to put in a huge amount of time.
By the way, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. By the way, I just want to make that clear. It's immersive. It's like to be very immersive. So
I mean, the real here is like we have a team. Like my co-founder Jeff wrote back in 1999. He's one of the EverQuest founders. Back in 1999, he was working with Tim Sweeney, and they were talking about creating the metaverse, right? But like way before this was popular mainstream media, right? And myself, I've been pitching Avalon since like 2015 as a metaverse, and like we really are serious about creating something like an Oasis. Now, truthfully, we don't have the resources today or the technology today to put you inside of Ready Player One. It's a 10-year journey for us from where we are now, maybe more like 7 years from where we are now. But we see where we want to go in 2025 as like a first meaningful step in that direction. So
awesome. Love that. Well, that is the end of the first boss. So we are going to kick it off to Craig, who is going to bring us into our special announcement. All right, I'm passing over the mic to Mizzy. He's going to talk about what we just saw. Who I think he's on mute right now.
Holy crap, I've been talking to myself. All right, it's that time again. We made the Avalon game cartridge. You know, for those of you that have been a part of the community up to this point, you know, every week at Boss Battle, we create a new game cartridge themed around our guests, inspired by floppy disk, Nintendos, all that great nostalgic stuff. We'll have utility within the Catalyst ecosystem. It's a free mint. It's an SBT. Go collect it, because, you know, I don't know how much longer we're going to keep doing these where you just end up getting utility. We're getting pretty close to launching what we've been working on, so get it while it's hot, and if you don't, I will make fun of you on the timeline forever. Yeah, shout out Avalon. Excited for the game, and can't wait to see where the community takes what we can do with the cartridges in a couple of months.
Thank you for that, Mizzy. And we do have a comment here from Andromeda that says, "Come talk to Andromeda Avalon. We've made the mocap tech that'll serve as a foundation for in-game live movement." So maybe some BD on the show here today.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, our characters are a huge part of Avalon, and like I loved it. Like what Mizzy's doing right now with our characters is something we've talked a lot about. And if you guys are doing something like that, yeah, let's talk. That's a thing we're very interested in.
Yeah, they
So
have
we
some
do-
really cool VTuber stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, we've got amazing. I say this humbly, we've got really, really cool characters that I think would blow people's minds with VTuber tech. So we should talk about that.
Hell yeah. We'd love
Let's
to see
get it.
Love that. I love that we're just connecting worlds here at Catalyst. Let's move on to the second boss. Craig, take it away, and Rob will take over.
Oh man, I love what I've been hearing so far. And you know what? I love the shout out Hato. Listen, we've really embraced the AI here. I love all this art. I love everything that happens on our show. Yeah.
It's not just me. It's not just me. It's also Damien. Don't forget about Damien. Damien's the
Yeah,
one
he's
making all
all
the
right.
art.
He's
It looks
He's
awesome.
all right.
Yeah, he's
no,
all
I'm
right.
just kidding.
I love
No,
it.
that's
He's
fine.
all
We
right.
love Damien.
He's a
No,
silent assassin.
Before we like jump into it, I always feel like AI is always getting a bad rap and yada yada yada. But I think that, like you said, there's a lot of creative embrace for folks that don't have that artful bone like myself. Like, listen, if you want to see chaos, have me draw like 2 stick figures, and I'm that bad. And with these different tools, I think I've actually been able to express myself in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know why people bang on that. And listen, what happened with the music scene, right? When everybody's like, oh, no more spinning, no more DJs, no more vinyl. And then now people come out with all these different tools, and you've seen some crazy compilation of music that's being created because of these other tools. It may not necessarily be AI, but I think it'd be foolish not to embrace the inevitable tech that's going to be headed all our way. So just shout out AI, Skynet, if you're listening, I'm one of you. Please don't eliminate me. Thank you. All right, on to the next question for the Crow Sisters. You kind of went over it a little bit before, but is there going to be crafting? And if so, like, what will that look like in depth?
Yeah, so there is going to be crafting inside of Avalon, and I'll just back up a quick second before I talk about that. It would take me like 200 hours to make just this video, like by myself without using AI. And like for someone like me that isn't an artist, it's so amazing to be able to use this tech to be able to create really cool creative things. But yeah, so there is going to be crafting inside of Avalon. We'll have things like blacksmithing, forgery, creating your own weapons, creating your own spells, that sort of thing. It's fairly simple. We're not looking to reinvent the wheel here. We're looking at other games that have done a pretty good job here. Games like Valheim, games like Enshrouded come to mind.
Nice. Okay, I like that. And actually, just a little side note. You know what I really thought? I couldn't think of it, and the name just came up when you started talking about all these like 3D immersive worlds and stuff. There was an early product that came out, which I really enjoyed, and I was wondering if that became part of the process. But do you remember like Skybox AI, where you can put in a prompt and would literally create this like that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like this is kind of going towards, which to me it absolutely makes sense. And then even the one, Lumion, where they do it. I think they proprietarily like focus on like nature, like aesthetic and stuff like that. So I wondered if that was like any kind of inspiration. I know it's not a question on there, but just for my own curiosity.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember when Skybox dropped, it was it was very interesting. At first, I was like, "Whoa, this could be game changing," but then I realized it was Skyboxes and not actual 3D content. It's not necessarily like the inspiration for generative AI for us. I mean, it's really quite interesting, but we have to be able to generate in 3D. So something we've already done is we're creating tools that make it so you can like snap like this village behind me. Actually, this is a piece of concept art, but I have the 3D village as well. And I could pull that up and show you guys, but you're able to create this village like actually really quickly in Avalon. You could create it in probably an hour, maybe 2 hours with our tools right now, and do it with like modular kits, right? So think like The Sims, but even crazier scale. So you can like very quickly snap together buildings and paste those sort of buildings. But then with AI, we could train models to generate cities from those modular kits, and then even sculpt the terrain because we have real-time terrain sculpting tools. So that's more what we're thinking. But at least the vision of what Skybox did is similar. So.
No, that's cool. I love hearing that answer, and I wonder if this is going to play into the next question, because it sounds like there's like a huge like a UGC element too, especially when it comes to like creators, the player base creating. But do you have any plan on having like any tokens or NFTs that are going to interact with the game?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we wouldn't be going the the Web3 route if we weren't going to fully integrate into the game. So there's a few different things here when I think about crypto and Avalon. So firstly, the game's being built to be fully decentralized, not fully on chain, but fully decentralized. So the game can basically live forever, like without the founder's success or failure. And like that's really important, right? I want to know that these items are going to exist for as long as there's a community to keep these things existing, and that's really important to me. But for things inside of the game, like there's critical pieces of land. Like for example, in our main city, there'll be limited supply of land. Players will want to own that land in order to advertise or to get various bonuses for things like crafting or their guilds, etc. And then most of the items in game will be on chain, as well as like player state will be on chain. So anything that's of value, any resources that are of value, more than I would say a few cents of value, those things are all going to be on chain. And then we have an in-game marketplace as well for players to trade, sell. You'll also be able to like stake things. So you could like maybe you're a high level player or you're part of a guild, and you could like stake your items to another player that's just starting out, help them with their leveling or whatever.
If I could hop in real quick, when you say in-game marketplace, is it like in the game, or do they have to go like to another website?
No, we'll have both, but it's in the
Oh.
game, kind of like World of Warcraft or Diablo or whatever.
Perfect. Love to hear that answer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that was a great answer. And I think that question's kind of dumb. Obviously, wouldn't be in Web3 unless there was going to be something that had to happen, on chain with token or NFT. So, yeah, that's awesome. Next question, the one I'm excited for, and I'm sure a lot of people that are out there watching are excited for. Has beta testing started? If not, when and how will people be able to join?
So we're doing a little bit of beta testing right now for creators. When I say creators, I don't mean like YouTubers and Twitch streamers. I mean more like people that want to get in and like start building worlds with us. So if you're a builder, you're like a game builder, game dev modder, and you want to start creating with us now, just shoot me a DM or hop on our Discord and reach out to our community. We're starting to bring people in right now for that. Now for players, we're going to be starting our beta, I think don't hold me to this, everyone, but I think February is when we're going to start it. Now it's going to be a limited invite only beta, a couple thousand players. It's really like a stress test. And then we'll have a much bigger launch later in the year. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. And, because we're here on the show and I have to do this, I ask all the hard questions, but would Avalon have any objection to maybe doing, a little sneaky peek at a, let's say, Catalyst community event, something small where people can kind of try it out or show the ropes and just kind of get softly introduced into Avalon and what it's all about?
Yeah, I'd love to do something with you guys.
Awesome. That made my job super easy. No pushback, folks. I like Sean already. He's a good guy and he likes ramen. So, all right. The next question, and hopefully I get this is a long question. I didn't write this, I swear, but a recent study has shown that gamers watch games more than they play them. With that as an insinuation that game devs are leaving money on the table. What are your thoughts on this info, and how will Avalon ensure that there is just as many hours spent playing the game than watching them on a stream?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know that statistic. That's actually crazy. So I can say this. I used to be pretty big into esports, both as a player and as a watcher. Right, watched a lot of esports. I played StarCraft fairly competitively, League of Legends fairly competitively, and I've always felt that we've sort of like underserved like players that watch esports. Like imagine being able to go to like an actual event inside of the game. Like Fortnite actually I think did a really good job of this, like where they have events for like these like big streaming events, or like these musicians that are dropping an album. And it's not something I'm thinking about today, but I would love to get to a point where like let's have ways for people to create events inside of the game so that like players can watch these gamers play. Like imagine like going to an arena and like seeing the event like live there in front of you, and the people playing there in front of you, and like you playing and running around with your friends like in the game, right? I'd love to eventually do something like that. I've not thought about how to like monetize Twitch or monetize X or whatever for the game, but maybe that's something we'll explore. So.
Yeah, no, that was really interesting. Thanks for the question, whoever shot that one my way. I really like that one because I guess when you think about it, it's kind of true. There's a lot of times you think about it, there's a reason why successful streamers are successful streamers, whether it's playing a game that they like watching other people play because of the interaction. I'm not really sure on the whole like psychology of that thing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I do
That
have
is-
actually, I think, a better answer now that I think about it. Although the initial thing I think still holds true. We are going really deep into this like refer a friend campaign idea. So like players that like invite other players potentially, because we are a Web3 game, potentially getting some of the revenue that we get from those other players that come in. So you're going to be incentivized to bring people in that like spend money and are part of the ecosystem. And certainly for streamers, something like that could be, pretty profitable for them and profitable for us. So it could be like a big win-win across the ecosystem. So that's something we're been chatting pretty heavily about, and we can track all that stuff because it's on chain too, pretty easily. So,
Yeah, I like that, and I think that happens a lot. I think a lot of times, like people fail to recognize that there is a large community that likes watching games. Like like right now, with when it comes to like Raven Quest, I didn't get into it soon enough, so I feel like it's a little bit lost. But I actually enjoy watching other people play and like the big battles and stuff like that. So for me, feeling like that kind of time has passed, it's like, well, at least I can sit here and watch the homies win. So there is kind of like a certain element about that. So. All right, on to the next question.
Wait, real quick.
Yes.
I just got to shout out some people in the chat.
Yo, shout them
Geois,
out.
thank you for the donation, man. You're awesome.
Whoop,
Appreciate that. We got Andromeda asking you pancakes or waffles, Sean. Pancakes or waffles?
Oh yeah, that's important.
Oh, that is super important. We have a
Waffle.
war going on, Sean. So you got
I
to
don't
choose a
even
side
know,
here.
guys.
How are we still on this? It's been like a month.
Yeah, it hasn't been answered. These are important things.
So I like chicken and waffles, and then I like
Okay.
Japanese pancakes. So,
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
I believe we're
So-
talking about American pancakes.
Oh,
American-
come on.
No,
It
you gotta-
I
counts.
gotta
It
go for
counts.
waffles.
No, you
It
can't.
counts,
Don't do
Miles.
that.
Pick
Come
waffle,
on.
Sean. Pick waffle.
Chicken
You know,
and
Actually-
waffles
Waffles,
and Japanese
sorry, guys.
pancakes, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, Japanese
Yeah.
pancakes. You ever had? They're like super.
yeah, the
fluffy.
puffy
Super
ones.
fluffy.
You talking
Yeah.
about? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
those are good. Those
Yeah.
are good.
Shout out, BB. Love you, bro. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a great day as well. We gotta sync up soon. Yo, what's up, Nix? And pancake. Yeah, this is agreeing. Pancakes or waffles is very important. all right.
Crazy. I mean, he already likes ramen. Like, if he came in here like flying, be like, I actually like udon. Like, I wouldn't even be here on the show right now. So he's kind of like the good graces right now, which is good. All right, we got any more shout outs out there? No,
We're good. We're good.
All right, cool. All right, on to the final question. Then we're going to take a quick ad read from our sponsors, and then we're going to jump into the lightning round. Hope y'all are ready. All right, last question. What platform will you be using to distribute your game?
Excellent question. So not Steam, because you can't put Web3 games on Steam. And I don't like how they take 30% of our revenue anyway. That's ridiculous. As a game dev, I hate that.
Wait, really? They take 30%?
30%, dude.
Oh, they
30% for just like
30%?
being a store.
Wow.
Yeah, it's man. I've given them a lot of money over the years, and they've made it anyway.
Yeah.
They're like exchanges.
Yeah, and they don't answer your emails either, so it's a lot of money for nothing. Anyway, so we're gonna have our own platform. We're gonna launch on think of like a BlattleNet. We're probably gonna be on the Epic Games platform as well. That's in 2025. In 2026, we may go mobile and consoles. So
Hell yeah.
Nice, short and sweet. I like how he went. He'd like, hey, Steam, listen, if you're watching, right? He said, not Steam. Don't like 30%. It's robbery.
I hate
Awesome.
it,
Well,
man.
great.
Fired.
I think you and everybody else that's out developing and launching on Steam feels the same way. Anybody on Itch or anything that's out there when they're selling their games for $10 and they're taking 3 off of every one. That's wild.
yeah, I mean, if you're PlayStation or Xbox, it makes sense, right? Because like you're building like a piece of hardware. People got to buy the hardware, and like they're doing that at a loss a lot of times. Like yeah, that makes sense. But if you're just a software platform, I mean, anyway, my opinion. So yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Some of us feel the same sentiment. All right, on to our ad reads, and then on
before
to the
we-
lightning.
wait,
No,
wait,
just
wait.
kidding, Hotto.
Before we go to the ad read, the poll is live, so go ahead and go vote. You'll see it in the chat here. But yeah, let's kick it over to the ads.
Oh yeah, poll is live.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Make sure.
Are you kidding me? Not again, dude.
Are you tired of losing, Crypto Hollow?
What's that sound? It sounds familiar. Who is that?
It is I, the Demon King, and boy, do I have the solution for you!
Holy moly, it must be my birthday! Welcome to the Geist, world's first members-only Layer 3 blockchain built for gaming. Powered by Aavegotchi, Base, Arbitrum, and Alchemy, it's where the brave come to play. Geist isn't just another blockchain, it's here to change on-chain gaming as you know it. Finishing bots and endless player churn, our exclusive member unlocks scarily good rewards across every game on Geist. With the spectral speed of Arbitrum, you'll experience fast transactions in a native NFT marketplace through the Aavegotchi Bazaar. And for those daring to build, Geist grants permission, contact deployment, and spellbinding tools from Alchemy to make your mark. Don't get left in the shadows. Join the on-chain gaming revolution with Geist. Chat, yeah, I'm talking to you, chat. Did you guys know that Arbitrum's got some fire games for you to try out? From racing in kitty cart to battling in golden ties, Arbitrum's got it all. Want to be a pirate? Pirate Nation is calling you. Feeling adventurous? Explore Meiji on the Zai subnet. Or if you're into strategy, Maelstrom on the Uprising chain is your jam. Don't take my word for it. Try it out for yourself and level up your gaming life on Arbitrum today. Warning, these games give you too much hype. Follow Arbitrum Games for more. Crypto How to approves this message. We're all just dancing during the ad now.
If my camera was on, I was also.
I love our commercials. I'm not gonna lie, I love them. You want to be a pirate? Still my favorite.
I was on my phone. I looked down. I see Mizzy and Ramen dance. So I'm enjoying it.
My neck hurts. Not gonna lie.
All right, let's move on to our next round, which is the lightning round. I still need to fix that goddamn intro.
Yeah, it's too short, man. We gotta give more love. We gotta give more love to Pyro. I mean, yeah, Scorch. I mean, sorry.
I get them confused too.
Yo, but this is when I take over the show for a little bit, Sean. I'm gonna hit you with some questions here that are completely random, pretty much has nothing to do with what we've been discussing so far, but kind of have something to do with it because some of them are related to Avalon, but they're gonna be a bunch of fun questions, and I want to see how fast you can answer them. Usually I have a 2-minute timer on my screen, but my camera is malfunctioning now, so you're just gonna have to trust me. Well, actually, let me see if I can put it. Maybe you can hear it. Oh no, let me see real quick. Let's just put a little timer here. All right, I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to answer as many questions as you can, and hopefully we can get through all of them. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. The first one says, you can invite any fictional character into Avalon as a teammate. Who do you pick, and what role do they play? Goku. And what role do they play?
Kick everyone's ass for me.
You get to pick one MMO cliche to eliminate forever in Avalon. Which one goes?
Unlimited inflation.
Damn. You find a rare loot item called the banana sword. What is its special ability?
When you hit somebody, it shoots a bunch of bananas around, and then monkeys got to come and eat them.
Your AI companion in Avalon starts glitching. What's the funniest advice it could give you?
I was gonna say something very ridiculous that I can't say.
Do it.
It gives you self-help sexual advice.
That is so
Coming
useless
soon.
by the MMO.
And you can be as explicit from there as you want to be, but I'm not doing that.
If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ramen. And I'm not capping.
Oh, ramen, you better run. What is the weirdest thing you ever Googled?
Oh man, what is the weirdest thing I've ever Googled? I don't know. I'm not going to answer that. Okay, what's the weirdest thing I've ever Googled? Anytime I want to Google something, I understand. I usually put Reddit something, and I found some really disturbing things on Reddit.
I believe you. You don't even have to go deeper than that. If you were a superhero, what would your totally useless powers be?
My totally useless powers. Man, let's see. Totally useless powers. Okay. I would like to be able to order, just because we've been talking about it so much, ramen whenever I want, instantly. Whatever kind of ramen I want on my table. Boom.
I'm hot right now.
Instant delivery.
Hey, that building's on fire. Would you like some ramen?
Yeah.
Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
100 duck-sized horses, easy.
Bro,
Horse sized
if you
ducks.
had- this is the last one. If you had to rename yourself using a food item, what would it be?
Jesus, we've been talking about ramen so much, so I'm gonna. Can I say Goku ramen because that's the type of ramen that's fairly popular, and I love Goku. So.
Oh, there you go.
Hell yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
All right, man. Those
All
were
right, you
the
win.
questions.
That's it. That's all the questions. You win.
Yep. Yep.
But for the record, guys, like I'm not. I really am. Like ramen really is my favorite food. I don't love it that much, but it really is my favorite food.
Hey, man, I feel it.
I was just
feel
in
it.
Japan last, like actually a few months ago, and holy dude, they had some crazy ramen.
I
Oh,
bet,
yeah.
dude. I bet. That's like my dream to go to Japan and just literally survive on ramen.
It's I can give you some recommendations if you do go. I've been there a couple times. You know,
Hell yeah! I go to a local spot here. It's called Domu, and it's
Oh,
really
you live in Orlando?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dude, I love Domu. I live in
Yo,
Orlando
the
too.
Doxes
We got
were
it.
real.
We got to hang out one day.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah, we would
I
definitely.
don't meet
would.
many people in Orlando.
Your social security number is 543-259-587?
Three of the Catalyst team is actually in the Orlando area.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I've eaten at Domu a bunch of times. One of my
Domu's
favorites.
fire.
Okay.
Domu's
Yeah.
fire. I actually found this new spot in Colonial that makes hand pulled noodles, and that is something special.
They make what?
Hand pulled noodle, like all types of noodles, but they're hand pulled.
Oh, nice.
So they're really good.
Ramen,
Alright.
please. All right.
Move your mouth, ramen.
All right, let's move on to our final segment here. The last boss. I'm going to drop the name Captain Wrath. I just realized I never say the names of the bosses. Ramen always does, but I never do. Anyways, this first question's kind of like, straight to the point, kind of blunt. When will the game launch?
I don't know. If you find out, if you know, let me know because I'm still trying to figure that out. No, in all seriousness, probably, sometime next year is the plan. I'm trying to figure out when exactly. When the game's ready this is the real answer. And when it's ready, we'll know about 3 to 6 months in advance of that, and then we'll announce the date. So,
okay, so I'm gonna assume Q4 of 2025. Is that a fair assumption?
That's a pretty good guess.
Hey, you said you tell me. That's what I'm telling you.
I mean, I can tell you I'm trying to go earlier than that. So,
okay.
We'll see though.
Worst case scenario, Q4 2025. Got it. Let's kick it over to Rob for the next question.
All right. On the website, it states, Avalon's mission is to revolutionize the way games are made through decentralization and AI. What is Avalon doing to revolutionize these sectors?
I mean, that's a good question. So, so a couple things. So, when I've talked a lot about the Oasis here, and by now, hopefully, you guys can tell I'm like pretty serious. So we're pretty serious about doing that. And what scares me about the metaverse, the Oasis, or like this like super video game that people are going to create in the future, and it's going to transcend entertainment, right? It's going to be multiple forms, simulation, education, other things, into the future, right? This thing has the ability to be extremely influential in our society. I mean, think about how influential social media has been historically, and now like multiply that, by like 2 or 3 times. And the idea that a board of directors just runs that however they see fit is kind of scary. And so to me, decentralization has always been critical. It's been critical to this, and it should be for the people, by the people. And so that's huge, and that's why that and things like digital ownership, interoperability, digital sovereignty, there's a lot of like very obvious value adds for gamers right now, but ultimately it's about that decentralization, and that's what really matters to me with Avalon. And then AI powered, because the way that we've created content historically takes an enormously long time. I mean, look how long I've been building Avalon. It's been almost 3 years. I mean, pick any of your favorite games. Typically, they're 5, 6, 7 year development cycles, oftentimes coming off the back of other development cycles, which are using a lot of that technology to then create the new technology. And, myself personally, it would take me multiple lifetimes to create all the games that I just want to create, not to mention all the other people, just the people on this call or the people in the world, all the games they want to create. And so AI with user-generated content for the first time enables people to create content, to create games, to create experiences at a scale that was just impossible before, enabling people to build the games and experiences of their dreams. So that's why each of those things are really important to us. So
it's like y'all are doing everything. That's crazy. No, I like that.
It's ambitious.
Yeah, that's like super, super ambitious. And I think the biggest key is what's going to drive everybody there, right? I think that's always the thing, like what's going to drive them. So awesome. I'm here for it. I can't wait to test it out, but I'm going to pass the mic back over to Hato.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next question says, what has been the biggest obstacle so far in building this game?
Focus. Focus has been the biggest obstacle, I would say, and something that we've gotten much better at, because you guys have heard all the things we've talked about. But like, what is the tangible core game experience that we can build in the 3 years that we have? And really focusing on that, I think is critical. Once we have that and our players are coming there, we know that we can lay the foundation, and we've already laid the foundation to build the rest of what it is we want to build. But let's give Elon Musk as an example, right? Like, he wanted to go to space, right? Like, that's freaking ambitious. But you don't start building a rocket ship, right? First, you need to build an electric car company. And to build an electric car company, the first thing you need to do is build your Model Y, right? And so that's really, us right now is we're hyper focused on our Model Y, which is our first core gaming experience. Once that comes to market, it's successful. We have adoption. We can see it there. We can start scaling Avalon to be the thing that we ultimately want it to be. So,
Hell yeah, love that answer. Love that answer. We'll kick it over to Robin for the next question.
All right. Up to this point in the build, has the community helped out in any way with the development of this game? And can you give some examples?
yeah, there's been a number of things. Most recently, we've had players actually creating kits with us. And so what I mean is like creating, taking our kits, like our high fantasy kits, and then creating like villages and creating dungeons and creating houses and that sort of thing. But previous to that, a lot of my experience actually in game development was building with the community. I built one of the best-selling virtual reality games in 2020, and I literally asked Reddit like what game they wanted me to create. If it was nowadays, I'd probably ask X back in like 2017, and they told me what game they wanted me to make. And it was like, this is before battle royales were popular, and I built the top comment was a battle royale, so I built a battle royale. It's like literally the reason I did it. And we want to do a lot of that same sort of thing. Like, hey, what content do you guys want us to create? What's some sort of balancing you'd really like us to see? And so we've been engaging a lot with our community on Discord in that way.
That's huge, and I love to hear it. And I think we had the question on the last episode of Boss Battles when talking to projects about taking in community input without getting too much into scope creep and getting way off track. Which I think there's tons of ideas, but sometimes we just got to sit there and focus, like you said, on that core loop and element. Because every time you add a layer of something functionality, there's usually problems that go along with that. So I love that answer. Passing it back to Hato.
Yes, sir. We're back to the second to last question here on the final boss, aka Captain Wrath. And it says, within internal testing, has any metas occur within a character class and weapon spell pairing or groups of classes that are really strong? So basically, like, what has the metas been? And like, what could you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm actually in addition to being the CEO, I'm actually an engineer, and I spend a lot of time implementing a lot of these things myself. And I have like a bias, like an unconscious bias towards making like melee and martial classes really good. And so, things like dodge rolling and like we have a dual swords style character that I like just kept like, cause I'd be, it'd be so cool if he could like dash, and it'd be so cool if he could like blink teleport. And then before you know it, like the dual swords character is just completely busted. So then I had to go, okay, like how do I make the range characters better now to like compensate? And so like we've had some of that going back and forth. And I expect a lot of that will kind of be discovered too. Like once, like we had a thing where like if you did a blade dash, the ability called blade dash, and then jumped at the right frame, you could like blade dash like 3 times as far, which was like it was like an accident, but it was really cool. And I have a feeling like players are going to discover things like that are going to change the meta. We'll have to like, do we fix this or do we leave it? I don't know if you've played Super Smash Brothers, but like wave dashing was an accident.
I was about
right?
to say that.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
But like, it's kind of amazing, right? And so
Yeah.
like we've had some of those moments where it's like, do we leave this in because it's really fun?
Yeah,
I love that call out to
yeah.
wave dashing, because that was
Yeah.
not intentional at all.
Yeah.
The game was actually rushed out the door, and that was like not a feature of the game, but it became meta, and like all these different terms like were born from like L canceling, like back air or bears, forward airs, fairs, stuff like that. So like I'm interested to see how the community will take all these things that in practice were not supposed to be there, but they have discovered like this new form of tech, so to
Right.
speak.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fun can come there, so we'll have to be really careful with how we balance those things. So.
Absolutely. All right, let's kick it over to Ron for the final question of Captain Wrath.
Yeah, before we get in this final question, man, I can't wait to break the movement and stuff in the game. I love it when he said that. Maybe you can switch it up as like little Easter eggs in game where you can just change it up, take that out, and then put something else in. So it's changing. So when people figure out, hey man, I found this new thing, it's already on to the next one. That might drive people nuts too, actually. All right. This is going to be a hard question. Well, actually, no, you kind of already answered it. Do you have a favorite character or class so far? You can't say melee. No, I'm just kidding. You can say what you want.
So if you guys played, I'm assuming you guys have played Skyrim, right? And this is so the reason we designed this skill tree the way we did is because like one of the things I loved about Skyrim was you could just literally be everything. You could like be a mage and you could be a warrior, but it's just like a massive time investment. And so this is kind of a cop-out answer. But to me, like what's cool about Avalon is I can literally be everything with one character and then just like change. Like I can still cast like all of my magic spells. I can still use, all of my martial abilities, etc. on one character type. Just some of them are going to be a lot less effective, like while I'm focus on martial. So that being said, I'll maybe give you a more literal answer. I like playing like high DPS, like very fast, evasive characters, primarily melee. Like in League of Legends, like I like Tryndamere. I like Yasuo is pretty cool. Although he's kind of annoying too, depending on if you're playing against him or you're playing as him. So it just depends. And I'd play like in Diablo, I was playing a barbarian, right? Like high DPS, fast characters. So.
I was gonna say in League, as long as you don't say Teemo, we're cool.
I freaking hate Teemo. Sorry.
Yeah, we're cool. We're cool.
Bro, they literally have Teemo main t-shirts that are out there.
Burn all those shirts.
He bothers me so much.
I think it's actually kind of refreshing to hear an MMO dev have a bias towards melee, because most of the time they're very biased towards like mage classes.
Yeah, it is a thing, right?
It's pretty cool to see like the other side of the coin.
I like ranged attack though. I don't know. I'm more like if I was going to play League again, I like Caitlyn, Camille, like the OGs. So I mean, I'm more of a ranged person or like mage.
I'm the spaz that ends up meaning everything at one point or another.
So. Yeah, but so like bows and range weapons are pretty fun in their game. We have like actual like projectile based physics, so you can like pull back your bow and like depending on how long you're pulling it, it changes the trajectory of the bow, kind of like you're playing Skyrim, but in a multiplayer context.
That's
which was not simple to do.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well,
nice.
We do have like about 3 minutes here on the last poll. So if you want to like basically tell the audience why you deserve an A, why you deserve to pass all these bosses, this is your moment and this is your time.
Why you deserve an A? God, I mean, I'm not going to tell you why I deserve an A, but I'm going to tell you why you should care about Avalon. If you want, like this game that we're trying to build, right, has the potential to lay the foundation to create the metaverse, like for real. Like look at our content, like hop into our game when it comes out, and you can see where it is we're going. And if you want that to be player owned, if you want that to be player driven, if you want that to be decentralized, and if you want to be able to create your own worlds and your own experiences as part of the metaverse, this is a thing you should care about. And this might sound a little bit crazy to a lot of people, but I actually think it's a thing that really matters to society. I think if an Apple were to create the Oasis or a Meta were to create the Oasis, I actually think that would be pretty bad. I think it should be a player driven and player owned thing. So if that's the reason you should care about Avalon, and if you do, I'd love to have you be a part of our community. Or even if you don't care about any of that shit and you just want to play a fun game, I think it's going to be a pretty fun game. Hop in there and play with us. So.
The fate of humanity rests in the hands of Avalon.
I mean, dude,
will you answer the call?
Founders got to have a dream, right? Like you can't. Why do I get up in the morning? This is my why.
Does Avalon have ramen shops?
It does now.
Nice.
all right. Done.
I didn't know if I was gonna start the FOMO campaign or the.
Once you create the ramen world, which you can do, and sell ramen inside of it for whatever you want to sell it, there will be ramen in Avalon.
Dude, everything should be made out of ramen in
diets to everyone worldwide digitally.
Yeah, you can open up a ramen shop right in the main city. And,
you win.
It's a 20% bonus to damage whenever you eat ramen for 2 hours.
Ramen plus 20 right now. Ramen's plus 20.
My broth is spilling over my bowl right now. Hearing this.
All right, we have arrived at everyone's favorite part of the show, the results. How did Sean do against all the bosses? Well, do I have a story for you in chat? Don't worry about it. Sean, you fought 3 bosses today. And on the first boss, he scored an 88 out of 100. Not too shabby. On boss number 2, you scored an 89, increasing your score by 1%. And chat, on boss number 3, Sean got 100 out of 100, which
Let's
means he got a
go.
92 out of 100. He has defeated all the bosses. Congratulations. You have destroyed all the bosses.
Let's fucking go.
How you feeling, man?
Just want to thank my mom. Shout out to my little girls, my wife. No, I'm kidding. Thank you all. This was awesome. Yeah, would love this. I love the theme of this. I love all the AI stuff you guys are doing. You deserve like 100 times more views than you're getting. This is really fun. So, good luck to you guys, and happy to do more stuff with you in the future. So
we will get there, but I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that so much. Base answer says Addis. But yeah, man, that's pretty much gonna wrap the show. Mizzy, by the way, if you want to like drop like what you usually say when people win, if you could.
Yeah. So you've officially, you're the champion of the Catalyst verse. We are gonna hand you over our company. No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, wait, what?
No,
I was like, hey, wait, that's not,
I didn't
that's
get
not
that
it.
memo.
You hire Craig.
You have won the official Catalyst Boss Battle Trophy. That will be delivered to you at a future date. It is tied in with the utility that we were talking about earlier. So once those are cooked up and ready, we'll ping you in chat and let you know more details on that. But
That's
it does
awesome.
bring utility for the devs. So shout outs to that.
cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
Yes,
Come
sir.
back.
Yes, sir. We are done with today's episode. Episode 47 featuring Sean from Avalon. Thank you so much for watching tonight's show. We will be back next week, I think. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week at the same time. Let's
At the
fucking go.
same damn time. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.